If you feel like you're always right, always honest, but people still don't listen to you, take you lightly, and the worst part is they take advantage of your trust and use you, then don't worry. Because today, what I'm about to teach you will change the game. After learning this, instead of people using you, you'll be the one using people, and they won't even realize it. Welcome to this series, Become Ayanokoji Part 4. Master the art of manipulation techniques. Music manipulation is an art that allows you to control the person in front of you, make them agree with you, and even change their decisions, all without them realizing it. Now look, if you've never used manipulation in real life before, or if you don't even know the aim of manipulation, don't stress. I promise to make you a master, and I will. You just have to follow the instructions I give you and apply them in real life. And how to do that? That's exactly what I'll explain in this video. But let me warn you first. The journey we're about to begin is dark. By the end of this video, you may not be the same person you are right now. So decide carefully, because once this journey starts, there's no turning back midway. If you're ready, then welcome to this dark series. Every manipulation works on one simple process. Observation, trigger, direction, outcome. If your observation is weak, your trigger will be wrong. And if the trigger is wrong, the outcome will never stay under your control. That's why observation is non-negotiable before manipulation. Without it, the game doesn't even begin. Because if you want to enter someone's mind and control them, you first need to understand how they think, what triggers them, and how they react. And to understand all that, you must master observation. Now, I'm not talking about normal observation like those basic videos online. I'm talking about the level of observation used by Ayanokoji himself. Ayanokoji never observes randomly. His observation works in 4 layers. 1. Behavior observation. 2. Emotional trigger observation. 3. Pattern observation. 4. Power position observation. If you truly want to master observation, you need to understand all 4 layers. Once you do, you'll be able to enter anyone's mind without them even noticing. So don't skip a single layer, because later, these will become your greatest weapons in manipulation. Before understanding the 4 layers, let's first understand what observation really means. Observation does not mean staring at someone, staying silent, or pretending to read body language. Observation is actually about collecting information that determines how a person makes decisions. Ayanokoji doesn't classify people as good or bad. He tries to understand what choices a person naturally leans toward under pressure, options, or loss, because those choices eventually control their entire behavior. Now the question is, what exactly should you observe? Observation focuses not on words, but on patterns. Ayanokoji notices what kind of choices a person repeatedly makes. Do they avoid conflict or face it? Do they make decisions alone or seek group approval? When things go against them, do they blame others or adapt? Once these patterns become visible, future behavior stops being a guess and becomes a calculation. Now that you understand the real meaning of observation and patterns, it's time for the real game. The 4 layers of observation. Layer 1, behavior observation. Behavior observation is not just about what someone says. Real observation means understanding how a person reacts through actions and what their decision-making pattern looks like. This is the first thing Ayanokoji uses. He notices, does someone speak up in a group or just follow others? Do they step forward to make decisions or back away? Do they become defensive under pressure or remain calm? These small signals reveal what category a person belongs to: leader, follower, attention seeker, or cautious type. For example, if someone constantly justifies themselves and forces their opinion into everything, they're likely an insecure leader type who craves approval and status. If someone calmly handles situations, listens to others, and stays consistent in decisions, they're probably a real leader with natural influence. Behavior observation helps Ayanokoji determine which manipulation technique will work on someone, or whether it's smarter to simply observe them instead. Observation is not just seeing. It's identifying patterns, understanding mindset, priorities, and reactions. Without this layer, every other manipulation step becomes meaningless. Layer 2, emotional trigger observation. Behavior observation tells you what kind of person someone is. But the real key to manipulation lies in emotions. Emotional trigger observation is the process of identifying what can disturb someone's internal balance. Ayanokoji pays attention to things like, does someone become defensive after criticism? Do they get anxious when ignored? Do they become overconfident after compliments? Do they get jealous over small things? These subtle signals reveal whether a person has a sensitivo, fear of rejection, emotional instability, validation dependency. For example, if someone reacts defensively to even small criticism, it means their ego is sensitive and they seek validation. If someone becomes anxious when ignored or jealous when others are praised, it means they fear rejection and are emotionally unstable. If someone becomes overconfident after compliments, it means they depend on ego boosts and are easier to influence. Emotional trigger observation doesn't just tell you when someone gets upset. It tells you the exact moment they lose control. And that's where real manipulation begins. Music, layer 3, pattern observation. A single incident never gives accurate data. That's why Ayanokoji observes people in repeated situations. This is the core of pattern observation. He notices, does a person make the same choices repeatedly under stress? Do they take risks when opportunities appear, or always play safe? During conflict, do they confront the issue or escape from it? This reveals whether someone is predictable or impulsive, what their decision-making loop looks like, and where their weaknesses exist. For example, if someone constantly avoids risks and chooses safe options, they are a cautious type. Manipulating them requires long-term trust building strategies. If someone reacts impulsively under pressure and makes quick decisions, they may be unpredictable, but timing-based manipulation can influence them easily. If someone repeatedly retreats during conflict, it means their confidence is weak and they can lose control under the right trigger. Pattern observation doesn't just tell you what happened once. It tells you which manipulation works instantly and which requires long-term planning. Without analyzing patterns, you're only making guesses, and guessing increases the risk of getting exposed. Layer 4, power position observation. This is the most dangerous and subtle layer. Understanding behavior and emotions is important, but real control comes from this layer. Ayanokoji observes, who actually holds authority? Who seeks approval from whom? Who changes their tone or posture around certain people? Who controls resources or important information? This reveals who the visible leader is, who the real power holder is, who acts as a proxy, and who the true kingmaker is. For example, if someone always agrees with the boss, but secretly passes information to the real decision maker, they're playing a proxy role. Challenging them directly will be dangerous. If someone gives commands openly but still seeks approval from others, they may be the visible leader, but not the real power holder. If someone quietly controls resources and critical information without showing off, that person is the true power holder, and manipulating them brings the highest reward. Power position observation helps Ayanokoji decide when to confront directly, when to avoid conflict, and which path gives maximum manipulation efficiency. This layer is subtle because it isn't visible at first glance, but once understood, the entire game becomes safer and more effective. And the most important thing to remember, never let the other person realize that you are observing them. The moment they notice, the game ends before it even begins. Ayanokoji never makes extra effort while observing. He doesn't ask unnecessary questions, doesn't act curious, and doesn't react much. He simply stays in the background and allows people to behave naturally, because people reveal the most truth when they believe nobody is watching. And Ayanokoji takes advantage of that illusion. He stays present, but never noticed. Now listen carefully. Every manipulation technique we learn from here onward is built on these 4 layers of observation. So if anything is still unclear, go back and understand all 4 layers again. And if you still have doubts or confusion, ask in the comments. I read every comment and reply to as many as possible, so don't hesitate. Now, if you're ready to continue this journey, type Phase 2 in the comments so I know you're serious about learning manipulation. Music. Music.